What's up, and welcome back to the Kind of Funny Screencast. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm fantastic. We got the big dog, Kevin Coelho.
I just rolled out of bed, you know? I should
Hell
put
yeah.
a different
Show me
shirt
the
on.
PJs. What are we wearing for PJs today, Kev?
It's you!
It's
It was
me!
only you!
I didn't expect that. We have the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
For a second, I wasn't sure if Kevin cut the sleeves off of his shirt to make them even shorter, or if that's just how the guns are out right now.
That's how the guns are out. Look at him. Look
I
at
love
this guy. This is the guy who lifts lumber and tortoises.
Speaking of guns, of course, we have the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
That was a really great segue, Tim.
Thank you.
You're on
Thank
one.
you. Thank you. I don't remember the source of this shirt that Kevin's wearing. For audio listeners, it's a white t-shirt with Greg Miller in jail. I just don't remember why you went to jail.
When I got banned from E3. It's when I was banned from
Gotcha.
E3.
Right. Gotcha.
And then joke's on them. I hosted E3, remember?
Gotta love it. I'll never forget.
Back.
Andy, don't you forget, okay?
Andy, I swear to God, if you forget this, I will drive to your house and just dump manure all over your car. All right? Don't you fucking forget. Nick, write down the notes. Don't let him forget.
Okay, I'll write it down right now. I'm gonna post it.
If you don't want to forget, you can watch this show with us each and every week as we review the latest in TV and movies every week here on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to get it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny Screencast and you click on the album art with all the pretty colors, all those purples, all those pinks, all those magentas. You know you'll love it. I love it. And we should all love it together. If you want to get the show ad free, you got to go to patreon.com/kindoffunny. We just love giving you all options. So whichever option you want to take, we'll gladly let you take it. Greg Miller, what'd you think of episode 5? What if zombies?
I know. What if ... zombies is it's like when people are out of ideas is how that title reads. When they announced the slate of what if programming and showed everything, this is the one I worried about because I was a big Marvel Zombies fan of the comic. I remember very distinctly sitting in Quinlan Keep reading all of these back in Columbia, Missouri, right? And I think that panned out here where I liked this episode, don't get me wrong, but I wanted more, I think, from every different beat, from every different angle, right? Where it's like the comic was so much more from the zombies perspective, giving us there's this amazing scene where zombie Spider-Man is crying about eating Mary Jane, right? Like they wrestle with all this stuff that I wanted some of that in here. So I wonder if somebody's just dropping in, if it's going to be weird for them to have these zombies that have their powers and what does that mean and how, blah, blah, blah. Not that I'm worried about that. It was good. I liked it. It's another one where it's like, not another one, I guess. It's one where it's like, man, I wish Tom Holland could have been here for this. Like this episode, I think so hinges on Spidey, and the Spidey voice actor does a great job. But it is that same thing of like, this kind of is not world breaking, but I wish it was that. I think the ending's abrupt. You know what I mean? When we were getting closer to go time, I just watched it before this. I paused and I was like, how much more is left of this? And it was like 10 minutes. I'm like, man, how are they going to wrap this up? And it was like, oh, they really don't. Like we show up at Wakanda and we're going to do it. And then Thanos is coming. Oh, all right. So I enjoyed the ride of this one, but this is the first one where I'm like, yeah, all right.
Nick?
Kind of the same way. I think it was fun. I mean, I think they went to stuff a lot in this episode. And I was the same with Greg, where I was like, oh, they're going toward Wakanda. I would like to see it resolved. I think this is one of the first ones I could have used 10 to 15 more minutes. And I would not have been angry at that because you've got, we're basically heading into the third act of a zombie film and it just wraps up and you see Thanos and you're kind of left to your own devices to understand like, oh, okay, well, he's waiting there for them and they're bringing him the one thing he needs to basically end the universe. But having said that, I'm a sucker for zombie survival horror, things like this. And I think that you throw the superhero powers into it, which when you start to think about it, don't make a lot of sense because they're supposed to be mindless zombies. How does Iron Man know how to use the Iron Man suit? But I don't care because it adds an extra dimension to it that makes it super fun. And I think it's super creative how they kind of whittle everyone down. Especially like with the Bruce Banner part, I think hit for me where I was like, oh, is Hulk going to come out? What's going to happen? And the Hulk kind of like protects him that one time when he gets bit and he's like, all right, he's going to come out. So, and then of course, one of the hardest things to do in a zombie flick or a zombie, show is to have like kind of a big baddie. And when they got to the Vision section, I was like, oh, that's so twisted. That's so messed up. And then Scarlet Witch, like he's like, everyone else is, susceptible to my mind control except for her because her mind is too strong. We can't stop her. It's just like I love stuff like that where like there's a train coming and you can't stop it no matter what. So I enjoyed it. Not the best episode, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it. I'm with Greg in the sense that like I grew up with the Marvel Zombies, so like that story is really cool, and this kind of feels like a watered down version of it. Same problems I've had with the whole series so far, where it's a little too kid-like and jokey. Like if this was done in a more serious way, the entire episode would be very serious. Everyone would be extremely like depressed and somber. And I kind of feel like that would have been a cool way to take it. But instead, we get lighthearted, Happy making jokes, Lang making jokes, Spider-Man making jokes. And I kind of feel like that, takes away from the seriousness of everything. So I kind of wish they had gone in a more serious route. And I think that would have been interesting to do as a cartoon, an animated thing, because we don't see that often. Instead, it continued that same path of like, oh, it's a cartoon, everyone's having fun.
Andy.
Yeah, I'm largely with Kevin. I feel like it did sort of water down the seriousness of it, and it largely felt like the murder mystery episode of Boy Meets World, where people are getting killed off. Time. People are getting killed off, but like, who cares? It's all fun. Like, because next episode they'll all be back. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I kept getting. I don't know. Like, as somebody who never really read comics, and to have an episode like this, just obviously I saw it coming because of all the promotional material coming out before the season even debuted. I don't know. I largely just kind of felt like this is inconsequential, and now there's a different Black Panther who isn't Star-Lord. So I was just kind of, I guess, confused by a decent amount of it. But I did crack up at a decent amount of Paul Rudd's jokes. I believe that was Paul Rudd, right?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah. And then as I kind of found myself feeling disinterested as the episode went on, then we got that sort of Vision Wanda beat, which I thought was pretty neat and interesting. So not the best, not the worst. It's still something to kind of, watch for 30 minutes and have time go by.
Tim Geddes, what did you think of this episode of What If ... Zombies?
Hey, how's your credit card statement looking? Let me guess, your heart rate just spiked just thinking about it. Well, the good news is you're not alone. And the better news is Upstart can help you get out from under debt that can feel crippling. Upstart is the fast and easy way to get a loan, all online, whether it's consolidating high interest debt, paying off credit cards, or just funding personal expenses. Upstart knows you're more than just a credit score. That's why they consider your income and current employment to find out a smarter rate. You can even see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 and $50,000 with a quick 5-minute online rate. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/KFMB. That's upstart.com/KFMB. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/KFMB. We're always churning out cool designs for our content here at Kinda Funny. We've got a design secret to share with you. The secret is using Canva Pro. Canva Pro is a design platform that empowers you to create and share stunning content in just a few clicks. You can choose from thousands of professionally made templates that are extremely easy to customize, all with drag and drop features, or you can start from scratch. Canva Pro is stacked with premium fonts, photos, videos, and more, so you can add personal touches to whatever you're designing. And let me tell you, as a designer, as a motion graphics designer, this is an awesome resource to have at my disposal, and it saves me a lot of time. Plus, sharing and organizing designs with a team is easier than ever, so you're never dealing with misplaced files. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use my promo code. Just go to canva.me/kindafunny and you get a free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/kindafunny. Canva.me/kindafunny.
I agree that there's like a total dissonance between like how jokey this was and how serious they could have taken it and how gory this episode actually is. And some of the action scenes are awesome. I love seeing Cap get ripped in half by the shield and moments like that are very, very kind of satisfying to watch in a Marvel Zombies property. I, like Greg and Kevin, grew up reading the Marvel Zombies comics. In fact, I think that might be the first comic series that I ever read.
I like how we keep saying grew up, and I'm like, I read it working my first job after college.
Senior thesis.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 12 or 13 or something like that, and like it was the first comic that I chose to go out and buy and read myself, or procure, however I did. But no matter what, I obviously really enjoyed it, loved that kind of take on it, and it introduced me to a lot of different characters. And that was the first time I ever saw Black Panther. So to get a kind of nod to what happens to him in this, I appreciate it a lot. I think that what I appreciate most about this episode is the same thing I have for all of them so far, which is each one is just so radically different in format and what they decide to do with the what if kind of idea. And what this results in is like, yeah, it's zombie and yeah, it's truncated, just like every episode has been. Whether it's like, hey, here's an MCU movie truncated. This is just clearly, hey, here's a zombie movie truncated. All the beats, you can fill in the gaps. And it kind of doesn't bother me because I am able to fill in the gaps, and I get it. I know we've seen this thing a million times. And the moment like Nick was talking about where we have Vision be like, you have awakened her, I was like, this is fucking awesome. But what really kind of came to be from this episode was a ragtag group that we wouldn't ever see together, and I liked that. Like seeing the cast that they chose was satisfying, and having it kind of end with a big battle between Hulk and Wanda. Like those are two of the highest powered beings we've had in the MCU. So like that was like a fun little bit that I would never have expected to see in any form from a Marvel Studios project. So that was kind of cool. But I really think that the episode shined brightest when it kind of just like had its fun little character moments between Okoye and Bucky, who we've seen before, but then also with Spider-Man and the dude from Ant-Man, the Baba Yaga guy, and all that. And yes, again, it didn't really work for me because I wish they either took it more seriously or more playful. Like doing what they did kind of felt off, but I'm happy we got as many fun moments as we did with characters that I wouldn't ever expect to see with each other. And I'm always a sucker for musical cues. Get throwbacks to Cap's theme, get throwbacks to Ant-Man's theme. It's fucking lit, bro. What's up, Andy?
Greg, you will understand this reference because, as you know, we understand the most and recognize the most Family Guy references on the show.
That's right. That's us.
This really does remind me a lot of the murder mystery episode of Family Guy, where they're splitting characters up and they're like, and then you go with you. Yeah, that could be a cool pairing. We've never really seen y'all interact.
You guys don't do a lot together.
That's what it kind of reminded me of, where it's like, oh, we are seeing these characters that in any other medium would have never really. I mean, maybe Endgame, I guess, is something you could say, but the fact that we are getting
right to have Kurt there from Ant-Man, and he's like rolling with everybody. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff was entertaining, right? I'm not going to say this episode was boring because it definitely threw a lot of stuff at you that I would just have never expected to see. However, I am sort of, as each episode goes on, kind of feeling the vibe of, oh, is any of this connected? I thought we were going to have a through line here. And maybe this is just kind of a one-off, but yeah, I thought with episode 1 that, Peggy Carter would have been sort of the through line, like Nick was hoping. And we haven't really seen that at all since then. And now I'm just kind of, yeah, maybe these are just one-offs. Let's just enjoy them, try to enjoy them for what they are,
Yeah, I think this one definitively, because the two Black Panthers makes it clear that they're one-offs. Interesting. Did
Thanos
we see
too,
the Watcher? Yeah, Thanos too.
You saw the Watcher.
Yeah, we saw the Watcher.
Oh, where was he? I didn't.
He was just in the sky at the end.
No, he was not even at the end. He was in the midpoint. At one point, they were doing a drive or a run or something, and he was in New Jersey, when they were going to Jersey, the train. When the train pulled out, he was in that cloud.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested that everyone here, or not everyone, like Andy, you seem so confused about the stories, like what universe to take, and like it legitimately
every episode's a new universe.
Yeah, but there's connections between them because the multiverse is broken. So it's like, I think we're going to still get them all, not all, but some of them connecting, not all of them. And I think that that's kind of what's cool about it is they are standalone things, but then they have the potential to link up later.
Yeah,
I imagine we're going to see.
I did kind of again. They find ways to make it entertaining, and the idea that zombie Ant-Man is shrinking down and biting Cap to sort of start the Avengers infection, I think, is a really neat concept. But yeah, when Bucky is fighting Cap, I'm like, well, I mean, this dude is like super decayed. Like, come on, Bucky, we gotta step it up here. You can't let him overpower you. This guy is just like bones and a little bit of meat,
The end of the line. Just to level the dumbass slides.
I liked, one thing we talked a lot about lines or whatever. I mentioned in the front, I really like Spider-Man throughout this. I love that. I like that it feels like a Spider-Man story. I liked his line to Okoye, right? Of like, do they not have horror movies in Wakanda? Right? And her burn was good too. But I want to also give them credit when Hope asks him how he keeps going or whatever, and he starts into his monologue. I was like, do not, please, for the love of God, do not drop the first "with great power comes great responsibility" right here in a what if animated zombie thing without Tom Holland. And I was so glad they did it. But I thought what he said was good, right? Of what Aunt May says, or what she used to say, right? Like, I loved that.
First ever mention of Uncle Ben in the MCU. So that's kind of fun. Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Another thing that I really liked about this episode, and I liked it about episode 3 as well, where it kind of played with multiple of the properties at once, where in episode 3 we had Thor, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. But with this one, I like that it's playing with the Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of timeline. Like, this is the most definitive we've ever had of how long the core of that movie versus the post credits takes place. I just think it's cool. Whenever they play with the timeline that way of like making the characters kind of overlap, it's always fun, and that just makes it feel like there's more thought put into it all, and it's what makes it work when we see these characters hang out together. I think that this episode exacerbated a problem I've had with a couple of the episodes to the biggest degree, where I understand that one change, like the what if, can drastically change the timeline, but it seems like the characters like go off book, like off character so quickly, where it's like, I don't believe the Tom Holland Spider-Man that we saw up through Civil War, where he is at the beginning of Infinity War, which is where this starts, right? Like, would be acting this way. It seems like just too out of character, but I could write that off with just this. They're trying to tell the story, so they got to get characters to where they need to be. And we don't know necessarily how long exactly like the zombie stuff has been happening.
Shout out to the Doctor Strange's cape.
Oh yeah,
whatever you call it, robe, or I don't know what it is. Definitely not a robe. It's not a robe at all.
It's a cape. You got it. You know.
Again, they find ways to be creative with stuff. Have we seen? Is there anything that we're missing from all of the promotional material? Because I'm trying to think of stuff that has happened in previews.
Big Iron Man somewhere.
Say that again.
Didn't they have like a big Iron Man suit? Oh, I guess, but
no,
with someone else in it.
That was episode 1.
Yeah, that was Cap. Yeah. Because like we've seen the zombies, we've seen evil looking Doctor Strange. Like, I'm just trying to think of what else in the trailers what did they show us that we have yet to see for the rest of this series?
There's just Thor, kind of like broing out, like a bro Thor, but not like Big Lebowski Thor, more like a college party Thor.
Sure.
There's one where it's Killmonger and Iron Man. We saw that one of the clips of Killmonger going back and saving Tony. And then from the poster, we saw Ultron with all the stones on him, where it looks dope as fuck, and Gamora with Thanos' blade. That's all the ones I can remember. But we have 4 episodes left.
Damn.
So, and they're in the trailer, there is scenes of multiple of these characters together. So we'll see how they play that, or if that's just a trailer shot that they're, just for fun, because it is intercut with the Avengers circle thing. So it could just be a fun nostalgia play there. But
do you think that was our Spider-Man with the robe on?
Yeah.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments below what you thought about What If episode 5, zombies, baby. Until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.